Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the desert. For today's video, guys, I had some TikToks picked that were really interesting, really funny, but they don't work. What? Yes, TikTok doesn't work. I don't know why the F that's happening. I cannot play videos. The whole interface loads, video doesn't load. Why? Nobody knows. Also, excuse my computer for making trash sounds. I must take it to the technician again because it's, I know, not working again. Technology hates me, guys, and I hate it as well. The biggest curse of being immortal is that I have to deal with this shit for an endless amount of time. Alright, I wish I could be dead to not suffer the nonsensical absurdity of fucking technology on a daily basis, but hey, let's not get too emotional about it. We're gonna take a look at a video from Men Only, a YouTube video, because I'm just not allowed to cover TikToks, alright? I think, guys, the globalists have noticed me, and they're trying to do everything in their power to, you know, tear down my content. My computer is breaking apart every day, and now I cannot take a look at TikToks anymore. I'm being shadow banned out of existence and all that. So we are waging a war against the globalists, guys. Like and subscribe to continue fighting. But now, let's finally get started, guys, and let's see why these women are single.
I'm single. I've been single for 8 years. And I'm getting kind of lonely. But I'm not going to cave. I'm not going on the dating apps. I believe that I can meet my tradie soulmate in the real world. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I really miss, like, sleeping next to someone.
Well, we have a fighter right here, guys. We have a hopeless romantic, and her narrative checks out absolutely fantastic. You don't want to touch dating apps. You don't want to get involved in all that bullcrap. You want to find someone the natural way, guys. It's all so perfect, other than the fact that she's doing this in her mid-30s, right? If she had done this in her mid-20s, life would be flowers and roses and butterflies and all pink. But we have the same old story, messing with the chads, messing on the dating apps, messing with men left, right and center, devaluing their bodies, wasting their time, getting rid of their pair bonding ability. And now that they're in their mid-30s and everything has went to hell, oh, let me find my Prince Charming. No, madam, you're Prince Charming. You've missed him a few times already.
And cuddling and giving someone back tickles and asking someone, would you like a glass of water? You know, like, I miss caring about someone. I miss listening to their heartbeat and listening to them breathe and counting their freckles. Like, I miss it.
Oh, well, guys, such a cutie patootie, but she's single. I'll tell you what, if you followed 10% of what you said, if 10% of what you said was real and you apply that in your 20s, there's no way you are single, right? Nobody can stop you from finding the man for you. Nobody can do it. But we, again, have the same issue, guys. These women always waiting to the last possible moment before they become unable to have children to start looking for men. They put the cart in front of the horse, right? Or whatever the saying was. Now let's move on to our next specimen for today.
I need to move to a different state. I just saw this guy that I blocked at the gym. He came up to me and spoke to me. It was so awkward. I tried to ignore him and keep my headphones on. I acted like, oh, I didn't have enough hands to take my headphones off because I was carrying a barbell pad, water bottle, and a weight. He grabbed it for me and was like, oh, I'll put that back for you, like my weight. He asked how I was doing like 5 times. He apologized for how it ended. And then he had the audacity to say to me, we'll do something soon. You're blocked. Good luck contacting me. So it was so awkward. I can't let that happen again. And I need to move. Cleveland, Ohio is too damn small. I hit legs though, and this is my glute pump. For those of you who even think that I edit my shit, this is directly taken on Snapchat. So fuck you, no, I just got a fatty. You guys let me know if I'm the crazy one. I blocked him because he went an entire day. Went an entire day without speaking to me. But I didn't block him while he was ghosting me. And mind you, I called him twice and I texted him twice, and he went that whole day without speaking to me. Texted me the next day at like 9 p.m. and said sorry with...
It's just unreasonable, guys. These women that block because they are mad at you. What are you, 5? What are you, 5 guys? I've seen toddlers acting more mature than that. They're so cringe. It's also so cringe. Like, picture you're this woman's boyfriend. Let's say that Satan wants to punish you, so he makes you this woman's boyfriend, right? It's so embarrassing, honestly. You probably wouldn't go to a single restaurant, single park or something where she doesn't see someone that she slept with, alright? The whole town knows her. She's a town bicycle. Oh, I need to move to a different state. Give it 2 weeks on that state, half the boys there will know you. It's honestly just embarrassing.
Some lame ass excuse. I emphasized the excuse by thumbs upping it, and I still gave him a period of time to be mature and call me like a man. I think I waited until the next morning, and then I blocked him. No, I didn't wait till the next morning. I gave him a few hours maybe though, because he DM'd me on Instagram the next morning, realizing that I had blocked him. Anywho, am I the problem? Let me know what you think. I just think these men think that they can run circles around me and play games right in my fucking face. I don't even think the first one was the right analogy. And expect me to be sitting at home just fucking waiting for the fucking phone call. No, sir. This isn't turning into something it wasn't supposed to be. Bye.
Yeah, so men are supposed to be mature and all that, yet on the other hand, she's the one that blocks, right? Because blocking someone absolutely solves the problem. Yeah, absolutely. These women, guys, are so far from being dateable that it's not even close.
Okay, I want to talk about something that went wrong on one of my dates with someone that I was excited about, Newport boy, if you've been following my story. I've honestly just kind of lost interest in dating him, but I want to explain why. I feel like maybe this will be a good learning lesson for some men who are out dating and maybe give some insight into how women feel on first dates. I don't even know how him and I matched on Hinge, to be quite honest, because he lives in Newport Beach, but I was still open to it because obviously I'm just looking for the right guy. Newport Beach is only an hour and a half away from me. So if he ended up being like wonderful, it's really not that big of a deal. Chatted for a couple weeks. We did a lot of voice messaging back and forth, and I was so excited to go on a first date with him. He ended up driving out to me, which is like, again, an hour and a half drive, which I thought was really thoughtful and I did appreciate. Didn't like plan a date or anything because, you know, he was coming to my hood, which I totally understood. So I planned everything for the first date. Everything seemed pretty great. I really liked him. He was definitely handsome, attractive, and I feel like that same chemistry that we had with like the voice messages was still there in person.
Guys, I thought that she was so interested in this man because he had a nice personality. And he had such a nice personality that she didn't mind that he lives away. She wanted to see where things go, right? But as it turns out, it was not because of his personality, but rather because he was quite attractive that she was interested in him. Well, I guess we learn something new every day.
The only thing I noticed in person that I feel like you really can't get over text messages or voice messages back and forth on the phone is that I felt like he really dominated the conversation in person, which I would have never known on voice messages because it's just like you send one, they send one. So I didn't have that experience of what it was like to have a real like dynamic in-person conversation with him, and I kind of felt like he took over a lot. So I was paying attention to that, but that wasn't like enough of a red flag. I just didn't love it. We went to dinner. He paid for dinner, which was great. I always really appreciate when a guy pays for dinner. And then we had already had our first kiss. So when we were saying goodbye to each other at dinner, it was time for me to go home and time for him to go home. We were doing like a goodnight kiss, which was great. I was like all for it. And then he just got really handsy and was like putting his hands like in my shirt, like caressing me up here, and was like grabbing me from underneath, like at the bottom, and like it just was too much. What really bothered me about the situation was I had mentioned like, oh, it's time to go home. It's like 11:30. It was almost midnight, and it's our first date. Like, I'm not hooking up with you. Sorry. And in my head, I was just like, I want to get home.
Ah, she's so traditional, guys. Do women really believe that this is traditional? No, I don't sleep on the first date. No, boys. On the second, you can break my back, just like the 15 chats that I've been with. But on the first one, no, come on, I have principles. Is this what being traditional means nowadays? Now, her narrative, oh, I don't want to be touched and all that, absolutely fantastic. If you are this type of woman and you don't want to go so fast, you're old-fashioned, you know, like the old days, courtship periods and all that, I'm all for it, guys, and I think every man can respect that. The only problem is when for the rest of the men that you've been with, you haven't applied those rules, but now you apply them for ex guy, right? Because again, it's not traditional. Just because you don't want to hook up on the first date doesn't mean you are traditional if you have a dating history of a body count in the upper double digits, all right? If you've slept and had S3X with 46 men at age 30, it really doesn't cut it as being traditional to not sleep around on the first date, right? So this woman giving, you know, a double standard where I don't really think that she is that sort of traditional woman, you know, oh no, first the courtship period, then we can start kissing, then we can start yada yada, and eventually lead to bedroom fun. No, I think that she has a body count in the upper double digits, and she just plays hard to get with this. So no hooking up on the first date, don't get touchy. But what do you think, guys?
Home, and he had mentioned a couple times like, oh well, why don't I come over, like we can cuddle, etc., etc. And I'm not an idiot, like not an idiot. No, you're not coming to my house. I barely know you. I've just met you for the first time, and also this is our first date, so like no, not interested. And he asked me,
I'm gonna pause it here. The guy says, oh, why don't we cuddle? And she says, no, I'm not an idiot. I know what that implies. Really now? Because a lot of you women say, oh, I didn't know that we will end hooking up. We just went to cuddle in our bed, you know? I didn't know it will end like that. Yeah, this woman apparently knows. So which one is it? Do you women know what Netflix and chill and, oh, let's cuddle? Do you know what that means? Or you don't know, and you don't know how you got to that place with Chad? Pick a lane.
me 3 different times. Like, answer is no, dude. It kind of like ruined my date experience for me, because for the most part I had a pretty good date, and then when he did that I just felt like, I don't know, kind of violated. I just got very like, oh, okay, like good night, and we left it at that. He even sent me a text message saying something about almost exploding on his way home. I just feel like that's something on a first date.
How embarrassing if you are this man. Not because he did anything wrong, but just because you're sharing something intimate with this woman, like, oh, you made me really happy to see you, let's say, you know, you made me quite excited about the prospect of having S3X, and she's out here sharing it to the whole internet. It's just so embarrassing, guys. These women have nothing intimate. This is why I don't think either she's that traditional. Traditional women don't speak about those things on the internet. All right, it's really embarrassing. I wouldn't want to be on this guy's place. But also something that really bothers me from these women is that they want to be driving in 2 separate lanes at the same time. All right, like you get this on one hand, that no means no, right? No means no. Come on, dude, I've said no 3 times. When are you going to learn? You're being so pushy. But on the other hand, women like the chase. Women don't want to appear easy, so they never say yes in the first instance, right? It's not like, hey, do you want me to go up? But most women will say no, even if they want you to go up. They want to feel the chase, and you know, it's part of their game. It's part of the courtship and all that. You know, they just like it. That's how women are, right? So which one is it? Because we can't read your minds. You say no in both instances, whether you want to have S3X or not. And here's another thing. A lot of these guys, the reason why they're being so pushy is because they get away, they get away with it, right? Because a lot of women say, oh, no, I don't sleep around on the first date. And when you push a little, you sleep with them on the first date, right? It's just impossible to understand whether these women really mean no when they say no. Do you get me, guys?
Like, for me, the goal is to feel very safe and to feel like you're a gentleman and that you respect me. So the next morning, I just didn't know exactly how I felt about that date. And I didn't say anything to him. I just kept chatting with him, and I was like, maybe he just had like too much wine to drink and he wasn't being himself. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. We talked for a little bit more, and then he asked if I wanted to come down and drive to him in Newport, which, to be honest, I was all for, because he had mentioned it on our first date, and I was like, yeah, sure, like, I'll drive down there. But then that kind of happened at the end of the night, and so I kind of felt uncomfortable driving to him. So I asked him, like, okay, well, let me think about it. Like, what would we do? And he was like, oh, I don't know, like you could come to my house, I'll make you dinner. And in my head, I'm just thinking like, this is our second date. I don't want to come to your house. If we're in a relationship, I would love to do that. And I would love to have you make me dinner. And I would love whatever would come after that. But we're like in the beginning phases of dating. So no. And that was pretty much like the final turnoff for me. I ended up telling him like, I don't feel comfortable coming down to you. And I did explain why. I kind of felt like his priorities were maybe hooking up. And even if that wasn't the case, I just didn't feel like he made me feel safe enough in an intimate way to even want to get there with him, if that makes sense. I'm sharing this story because I feel like it is important for men to know that, especially on the first, second, third date, like you should be actively making sure that you're making the woman feel safe and respected. I promise you, like intimacy and all of those other things will follow, but it's not going to happen if you make someone immediately feel like you're pressuring them.
Well, guys, a lot to be commented here. Maybe I'm being too hard on this woman, right? Maybe I should give her the benefit of the doubt, because I agree with her message. I agree with waiting. I agree with finding out. I agree with securing the commitment up front. That's what I yap about all day, right? So I just think that she's being dishonest. To be honest with you, I just think that she has slept around. If she didn't have a high body count, I would have no problem with this TikTok at all. But I think that she's being disingenuous by acting like a traditional woman while not being one, you know. But apart from that, her message checks out, right? If women secure the commitment up front and don't spread their legs before they get the commitment, we wouldn't have like 70% of the problems we have in the dating world, right? Yet, it's also true that men cannot simply apply this thing that you are saying, the, oh, be a gentleman, be all that. We've seen what happens with gentlemen. We've seen what happens with men that pay the gas, pay the date, pay the dinner, pay this, pay that, pay attention, write long poems. We've seen what happens with them. They don't get crap out of it, all right? So it's not something that we men can just lightheartedly do, you know, like, oh yeah, let me be a gentleman. It doesn't work with over 90% of women on dating apps, even more, right? So you cannot simply do that. So what do you think about this whole thing, guys? Eventually, if you find that one woman that is the right one, she is really traditional, you have to be a gentleman, because otherwise you're going to turn her away, right? She's not going to want to hook up with you immediately, and she'll think that you just want her for her body if you do. But at the same time, if you apply that to all women, then you're just going to be one of these losers that ends up paying for all the dates and paying for these women to have their validation and reassurance. So leave me your thoughts about this down below, guys. But now, guys, enough about all that. If you're asking why Ampu is angry throughout the whole video, it's because he also hates technology and he's angry with me, right? Now, let's move on to our article story. This guy says, is dating fun if you're a man? Absolutely, my dude. Absolutely. What do you think about that, gentlemen? Also, it really hurts my eyes, but this should be you are with an apostrophe. Anyway, I don't know why everybody gets that wrong. To start off, I'm inexperienced and never been on a date, male 25, but from the outside looking in dating as a guy doesn't seem fun, question mark. Again, it's so fun, you won't get enough of it. Maybe it's because Reddit and social media highlights the negatives instead of the positives, but it seems exhausting. I tell you what, everything you see on Reddit, on social media, TikTok, YouTube, everything you see about the dating world doesn't come close to the real experience, alright? Like, outside of the social media, it's even worse. You get what I'm saying? Everything you know about dating and how bad it is, it's actually worse once you get out there. So, good luck with that. You have to go out of your way to initiate conversations with women. Apparently, it's a numbers game, so it sounds like you always have to be prepared to shoot your shot with multiple women just to get one date. Absolutely. As a guy, you have to throw the wider net. This is why men don't read stupid profiles. Oh, why don't men read my profile? Because ain't nobody got time for that, alright? To see your zodiac sign, and that you want to travel, and that the key to your heart is food, alright? Nobody has time for that. I continue. You have to ask and usually pay for the majority of dates early on. Nothing wrong with paying, but imagine the date doesn't work out. Am I supposed to just take it on the chin that that's a lot of money wise? Yes. You have to pay for every single woman you go on a date with, because otherwise you're a nick, right? Otherwise they storm out of there really mad and post a TikTok about it. But what if the date doesn't work out? Well, bad luck, my guy. And they won't work out, okay? 9 out of 10 dates, you'll just be wasting money. So hire a hooker, alright? If you want, I don't endorse this behavior, but if you really are all about the S3X, go for a street lady. It's much cheaper, save of time. You are fostering local business, alright? It's all benefits. Again, this is my inexperience talking, but it also appears you have to compete with other guys for one woman. Oh, you really think so? You could be the only person you're dating while she's dating a couple other people. This guy is starting to get it. It's so hilarious to see someone who's just getting into it and he's starting to pick up on things that don't seem right. Like, what? I'm talking to one woman, but she's talking to multiple men, and she only views me as one of her orbiters on little farm for attention. What? Is that the case? Yes, my guy. Similar to the last point, it seems like you can get dropped for whatever reason. You said the wrong thing, gave her a nick, etc. It's like, as a guy, you are easily replaceable. I tell you what to do, right? To circumvent this. There is this one guy who has a notebook where he writes all the red flags that he picks upon, icks and red flags that women see in dating guys, alright? So go check him out. I think right now he's in like the 200 icks that women get. Just fulfill the 200 things that are on that notebook, and I think you're gonna be not replaceable, right? Just do that, it's easy. I continue. This one is a bit more personal, but it feels like I missed the boat on youth romance almost. Now it seems like I'll be judged for things like my job, if I have a place, financial stability, etc. Like a checklist to see if I'm even worthy. Exaggeration, but you get the point. My dude, this is not an exaggeration at all. At all. This is exactly what they do. They judge your work, your place, your financial stability. If you have all those things in order, they'll probably tell you that you are boring, right? If you meet all the standards, then you are just average, because a lot of men meet those standards, and so you're one of the many, you're one of the pack. You have to stand out. Are you top 10% in the looks department? Do you have a six-pack? Are you over 6 feet tall? Right? Give me something to work with. Don't tell me you have a place, job, you treat your mother right. Nobody cares about that, my dude. Your personality is the last thing on the list that these women care about. Exaggeration, he says. Instead of, if I'm just a cool person to be around. I can barely read this with a straight face. We are long past the days where being a cool person to be around mattered. Alright, we are long past that. Because women nowadays have... guys, you cannot compete with a woman's phone. Alright? You can't do it. You can be a really handsome man, good, working, honest, really good man. But you can't compete against the 500 dudes she has piled up on her socials. I continue now. I don't know. These are just the first few things that come to my mind, but like, none of this seems fun to me. I want to date and gain experience, but dating doesn't even seem like a fun activity as a man. Yeah, the possibility of S3X and a potential relationship seems great, but to actually get there seems like a nightmare. Oh, you sweet summer child. You sweet summer child. Well, guys, what do you think about this man? It was so funny to read how green he is and naive. And there's two possible paths here. He's either going to go through a shit ton of pain, trying to stick to his principles of being a gentleman while working all this, or he's either gonna become absolutely cynical about it and try to use women for their body in the same way that they use him for attention, and he will just become part of the engine, you know, part of the big crap machinery that is dating. He will be just one gear in all that mountain load of crap that dating has become. But guys, leave me your thoughts down below. Again, I hope that tomorrow I can cover my TikToks. I'll just wait for the technology gods and the arbitrary gods to resolve my problem, because yesterday I was covering TikToks, everything was fine. Today I put my computer on and they don't work, right? I've tried many things. Have you tried restarting? Yes. I've tried clearing the cache and all that. Nothing works. So out of the blue, it just stopped working. Just TikTok. Everything else is working. So I don't know, guys. I'll just wait for a day to pass. And maybe tomorrow it will magically out of nowhere work, because that's what technology works. All right, in my eyes, technology is like this shaman voodoo thing where things inexplicably happen for one or other reason. I'm not, you know, I have better technology skills than your grandpa. Just because I'm 4,000 years old doesn't mean that I'm just this incredibly stupid guy in terms of technology. No, I know a lot of things. It's just me, guys, I swear. Wherever I go, technology just stops working. And it only happens to me, right? Like, I've been to war, guys, and they buy like 2,000 computers for the whole office, for the whole building, and mine is the one that makes the problems. Mine is the one that keeps breaking apart. All right, so technology hates me, I hate technology, and that will be the end of the video, guys. I hope that tomorrow we can continue, but I'm not gonna give up in this fight against the system that is trying to break this channel apart, guys. Thank you for watching.